I lost a pound in 4 days.
That's an accomplishment. That's awesome.
I'm actually really proud of it. I'm saying it as a joke.
You sound like you're making fun of yourself.
I am making fun of myself because a pound is like what people take in with like eating bean burritos one night. And then the next day they're like, oh, I lost a pound because I went to the bathroom. But for me, it's a really big accomplishment.
You know, for me, it would take months to lose a pound. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, I have to tell you about this new thing I started. But first, let's intro. Hello, and welcome to the next episode of It's Your Time to Shine, a podcast about being a mom in a modern world. My name is Juspreet, and with me is my good friend, Lisa.
All right, so we are talking about losing a pound today.
Yes. Okay, so day 4 of trying to recover from the holidays. And the holidays were like a little extended for me because for most people, it goes Thanksgiving to New Year's. Mm-hmm. For us, after New Year's, we had family here for a week. And whenever people come from out of town, you know how it is. Like San Antonio, great food. We have to go out like 2 meals out of the 3 in a day. Yeah. And then we also had a destination wedding at the end of January on an island. It was awesome. It was at the Hard Rock.
Yeah, I got the pictures. It looked gorgeous.
Yeah, it was so beautiful. And then on top of that, it's all inclusive. And it's a Punjabi wedding. Like, come on. It's just gonna be a lot of food, right?
I would give myself 5 pounds.
Exactly why every pound counts now.
All right. So now that the wedding is over, the holidays are over, you're starting. What are you doing? Like clean eating? What are you doing? What did you do to lose a pound?
Okay, so so first, can I give you the build up to the 1 pound that I lost?
Yes, I think everyone wants to know. Yeah.
Okay, the first thing I did was I stopped holding my phone when I weigh myself. No, I'm just kidding.
I took off my watch.
That's so funny.
That was good.
Honestly, what I did 2 things. One was like, I want to get back into my routine of planning the days that I'm going to exercise and take a class, because doing the flexible exercising, which is what I call it when I can't fit exercising in during the day. So I'll just figure out some activity like walk the dog with the kids at night or get on the treadmill at the gym that's really close to our house, which is a gym I really don't like. So I don't try to, like, I don't want to go there. But it's like sometimes like that last resort safety net, right? Of like, okay, I got to be able to do something. So I had a plan for like the days that I was actually going to go and take like a group exercise class, either Pilates or yoga. And then I also stumbled upon this app called Noom. There was ads on my Instagram and Facebook.
Noom?
Yeah, Noom, Noom. I don't know what it stands for.
Okay. No, I never heard of it.
So I read this little advertisement, and essentially this woman was saying like she was into yoga, similar lifestyle and exercise regimen as me. And she said the thing that I loved about Noom is it really helped me to evaluate my psychological relationship with food. And so I loved the idea of delving deeper into that because even you and I, we talk about exercise a lot. We talk about healthy balances.
Yeah, we don't really talk about nutrition.
Exactly.
And I love nutrition.
Yes, yeah. I do too. I really enjoy talking about nutrition.
I mean, I like talking about it. Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's something that I only had like a baseline understanding of. Like I understand calories and I understand like healthy food and unhealthy food based on like triglycerides and cholesterol and fat, right?
Yeah.
But actual meal choices, and I had a friend, like after the Super Bowl, everyone was talking about how amazing Shakira and J-Lo looked. And people were saying, well, obviously they have a personal chef and they have a trainer and blah, blah, blah. It's easier for a celebrity to be in shape. And I was like, okay, but honestly, like what are they eating though? Like that's what I need. I just need that meal plan.
J-Lo doesn't take in any sugar. She did a whole thing on the Today Show. No sugar.
Yeah. So there you go. That's like a huge difference, right?
They deserve that body. That's how I see it. I'm like, you know what? You're not eating sugar. You have just a super healthy lifestyle. You're giving up on things that I probably wouldn't give up. So you deserve to look like that.
Totally.
But at the same time, I do want to point out, though, that it does take a lot to be healthy, like a lot of time, picking the right food, meal prep, just trial and error. Like they have people to do all that. So I just want to point that out. But does not take away from how hard they work.
And their motivation is different too, right? Their livelihood is directly 100% tied to how they look and how they perform. And it's totally different.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a difference.
And I recently learned that in my family, hypoglycemia is very common. And so that's really good for me to know because Budum, my husband, is a super huge fan of intermittent fasting. It's something that's worked really, really well for him.
I've been doing that.
Oh, have you really?
Not to lose weight, okay? I mean, you know, I weigh the same, but I've been doing it just because, number one, it's just an efficient way to live my day.
Yes. It's more convenient because there's less meals.
Well, it is because my hours are like, well, we should explain the intermittent diet in a second.
Yeah. Explain it real quick.
Okay, so basically you have different types of intermittent diet where you're fasting for a significant period of time. So there's different types where, and I don't know the exact for the other ones, the ones that I'm not doing, but basically where you eat as little as 500 calories a day, but then the next day you eat normally, and then the next day, something like that. What I'm doing is the 16-8, which is you fast for 16 hours and you eat for 8 hours, and you can pick your eating window.
Oh, that's awesome. So you have the flexibility of picking 8 consecutive hours that you can eat.
Exactly. And basically the goal, basically the reason for it is because you're just lowering your calories. That's pretty much the reason. But because you have such a small window to eat it, you're less likely to go over the amount of calories needed to lose weight.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
My window is as late as 1:30, which to me is like, why is it so late? And I'll tell you why it's so late. Because I want to go till 9:30 because I like to have a glass of wine around 9 p.m. when Allie's sleeping.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. So you're really customizing this for your lifestyle.
Yes, I am. And if you look on the internet, they'll say the worst type of intermittent to do is the one I'm doing. One where you're eating or drinking right before bed. But because I don't need it to that point, like I'm not trying to lose a massive amount of weight, it works great. And I do a lot of weight training. And just in the last 2-3 months, I've gained probably about 2 pounds of muscle and like lost like an inch.
Oh, that's awesome.
For the first time, legit, I've like gained muscle. So I'm excited. I'm like, I've never felt that good. So I love this intermittent diet. That's all I'm just saying. I love it. It works for me for what my goals are and how my lifestyle, because another reason 1:30 is good, I just work all the way to 1:30. You know what I mean? There's nothing.
Yeah. So you have the distraction.
I have a much more efficient day because I feel like a lot of my work is behind me by the time I eat. So I kind of structure my day like that. Like I do the hard stuff. Like, okay, I'm going to do this by 1:30. Then 1:30, I'm going to eat, do this, walk Butters. And then 2 p.m. till about 4 p.m. till Allie comes home, I'll do this. But I always schedule the easier stuff later. You know? So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's cool. So that's similar to what Budum was doing, but he was doing like 12 to 6. So maybe his window was a little bit shorter, and it might be different for guys and girls, and it might be different.
You can do that.
Yeah.
The goal really is, they say, if you can go down to 4 hours, that's the best. I just can't do that. I just can't do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'd be starting at 5 p.m. to make my 9 p.m. wine.
That's funny.
I'm so glad it's working so well for Budum.
Yeah, it's been working great for him, and he doesn't even really get hungry. He was never a breakfast person to begin with. Mm-hmm. So if you really think about it, if you're not huge on breakfast, like if you don't wake up hungry, intermittent fasting is possible for you.
Easy. Just skip breakfast.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I drink black coffee. Does he do black coffee in the morning?
He does. Yeah, he drinks black coffee and water, obviously, and tea sometimes as well. Like tea with no cream and sugar.
Yeah. You can do that. Yeah.
And I see the difference too, because like I was going to say that I just recently learned that hypoglycemia is common in my family, which explains why when I am really, really hungry and my blood sugar gets really low, I actually feel shaky. And like it can affect my vision. It can give me a headache. Yeah. And I just recently learned about this because my mom has this. And the doctor was telling her about it and saying like, hey, you can't let too much time pass before you eat because your blood sugar drops and then it takes a while for it to get back up. Mm-hmm. And so my sister and I were talking about it, and I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't happen to everybody. Like when they're really hungry, they don't get shaky and like get blurry vision in their left eye. And she was like, no, apparently it's just us. And I was like, that's so weird. And I was like, here I am. So when I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm hungry, I need to eat, I physically really need to eat. Like my body is telling me that. And other people are probably looking at me like, oh my gosh, drama, Juspreet, like we're gonna eat. Just wait another 30 minutes.
No, you're right, because they can't relate because they're not getting that feeling. So they think that you are reacting the way, like based on their feeling of like, I can handle this. Yeah.
And I laughed about this so hard because I remember Budum once saying to his family like, oh, when Juspreet gets hungry, it hits her really hard. Like, I need to stop and get her something. And I thought, like, why is he talking about me in the third person? Like, I'm not here. But now I realize this is not normal for everyone.
No, but it makes me feel like, wow, I should understand other people's plight. Like, not anyone can do it. It's not.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think based on on your time window, I could actually do it because I could also drink black coffee in the morning. I usually wake up hungry.
And you'd make better choices. Like at 9:30, you could eat like milk with almonds or something so you stay full.
Yeah.
Like you won't make dumb choices like me, but like that's what I'm saying. So
maybe. I think it's all relevant. Okay, so coming back to what I really like about this app Noom is that the idea of evaluating like your psychological reason for food, I think is really valuable and important, especially for people like me and you who are a little bit on the smaller side and have like percentage wise, we might be the same as everyone else, but sometimes it can be harder when it's like, and I'll say, take myself, for example, like I already only eat like a 1,200 calorie diet. So for me to be restrictive in my calories is really hard. Like once you can't really operate on less than like 1,000 calories a day, like a human brain.
1,200 is like the minimum.
1,200 is like the minimum.
I've told myself no matter what happens in my life, I will never go below 1,200.
I totally agree.
It just at that point, that's when I'm succumbing to like some sort of life pressure, you know, like I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. And so like under 1,000, like your brain stops working basically. So rather than, so I don't have the flexibility that someone who might like, you know, someone who is taller and heavier, you know, has more weight to shed.
Oh, I totally get it. I do that to Samira all the time. I was like, you have way more in your account than I do. And you could still lose weight. Anyway, yeah.
Right. And so the two things that I did, and I did this with the kids too, just because I want to start talking about food and nutrition and exercise with them as well. Like we've talked about previously on podcasts, like working out and exercising can be a tool for them to manage even mental health, not just physical health. Yeah. But I think talking about nutrition and understanding calorie consumption is really important as well. Not in like an evasive way, but just like kind of casually like, oh, I'm going to you know, all foods that we eat have certain calories and have certain compositions. So I've been talking to the kids about that. Reek, my son, has been working out every day because has track practice. So he goes in the morning and then he also has it after school. And so he's been consuming a lot of calories. Yeah. And so we did a quick calculation for him. He needs about 3,600 calories just to maintain his weight. Mm-hmm. And you know how thin he is. Like he's like just maintaining a little bit of muscle basically. And so I've been sending him in the morning with a backup protein. Like I'll make him a smoothie that has protein powder. Yeah. And it's actually a really good recipe. Let me share it with you. It's a banana, 2 scoops of peanut butter flavored protein powder. And I have like a plant-based vegan protein powder that I got him just in case. Sometimes they say protein powder with some of the animal products aren't as healthy. Mm-hmm. And
there's a whole thing about whey protein versus like other types of protein.
They say like it can be bad, especially for men and for young boys. So I don't want to cause like male pattern baldness in him or something.
Yeah, testosterone like too much can make them lose hair. I happened to just read an article a few days ago.
Yeah, I think it's that. And then I think the creatine is bad for you as well. So anyway, I use a healthy alternative protein powder, some oat milk, 1 banana, a handful of spinach, a couple of blueberries, and some chia seeds. And then I just blend all that.
Oh my God, can you write this down?
Yeah, totally.
Well, no, I think this would be perfect for Allie.
And it tastes amazing. It tastes so good. And then I make 3 of them.
Is this your own recipe?
Yeah, it's just my own recipe. Just threw them together. But it was things that were compatible with the peanut butter flavored protein powder. Yeah. And then also nothing that has like an overpowering taste and low in calories, because that recipe that I just shared, and then I put ice and water in it, it turns into 3 protein shakes. So you're basically getting like a third of a banana, 4 blueberries. It's not much, right? And it fills them up and it gives them like a little extra boost. And then I have one. My oldest daughter has one, and then he has one after he works out. And then my youngest one is like her dad. She doesn't need breakfast. She's like, I don't want food in the morning. And whereas before I was the mom that was like, no, you have to eat in the morning, right? Yeah, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Now that I realize, like with intermittent fasting and all these other changes, I'm like, oh, you should listen to your body. If you're hungry, eat.
Yeah, and especially with them getting old. Like at 5, I still wouldn't like let Allie skip breakfast. But when she gets a little older and she feels that, you know, it's good for her and she can do it. I'm not going to argue,
Yeah,
So,
if it whatever feels right. And let's be real. Like my kids are also having like a bowl of cereal before they go to bed some nights too. So they're not starving or anything.
But what you say is so true about food and choices, because we talk about working out and how it's so good for your mental health. Making proper food choices also is connected to positive mental health.
Absolutely.
If you're going to sit there and eat sugars all day, or even alcohol, I'm joking about the wine. I don't go beyond one, at night or anything. But in general, the choices we make definitely have a big impact on how we're feeling and just mentally and emotionally. So choosing the right types of food is important. It's not just calories. And that's something I think I've learned as I'm getting older, because it used to be just about calories. It used to be just about burning calories and in and out calories, nothing else. And now working out has become about feeling, and it feels good. And even food, it's like, you know what? When I eat avocado, I know it's higher in fat, but I actually feel better. Or when I eat chicken, with lentils, I feel good. So,
right.
So.
Yeah, it makes a difference. And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because Amrik has track practice early in the morning. Just the two of us, some days are up and I'm like making his shake, and then he's eating breakfast also before he goes. And he was saying, oh man, my time is a little affected. And I said, yeah, because so they have qualifiers. You have to qualify for each of the meets. Yeah. And I said, yeah, your time is affected because you still sometimes want to eat like pizza. He can eat like a pizza himself, right? And so I'm like, yeah, when you eat pizza and you eat like a crispy chicken sandwich, that's going to affect your overall performance. And he's like, no, 3,000 calories. And I was like, no, not all calories are the same. And so I was telling him, I was like, you need to test this out for 3 days. Just eat really healthy and don't eat anything fried, same amount of calories, and see how you feel. So I know that it's true. And it's a big part of it is probably because I'm older, and like we can relate, because when you're older, things affect you sooner. But I want to show him, like, I just want him to do the side by side and see what a difference it makes.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a great scientific experiment right there. In 3 days, eat McDonald's, eat this, eat ice cream, and then 3,000 calories, and then eat 3,000 calories of spinach and lentils, and let's see the difference. That's actually a really good idea for all of us.
Yeah, so we're going to do that this weekend. I don't know if it's possible to eat 3,000 calories of spinach. I can't even imagine how many that would take.
Okay, avocados and nuts all day.
If you really want to push this science experiment up to the next level, here's what you got to do. You got to do that like not good diet, and then go try to do Bikram yoga. 90 minutes, 104 degrees, 88% humidity. I feel all of my sins coming out of my pores during those moments.
Wow. Well, my sins are just going to have to stay within me, because I will not do Bikram yoga again. I did it 3 times in my life. I don't even remember, like 20 years ago. And each time I hated it. But each time when I went the next time, I was like, oh, last time was just a fluke. I'm sure I'll like it now. And I didn't. And then I went the 3rd time and I hated it more. And now it's been 15 years since I've attended a class, and I'm not doing it.
Hey, let's go to Bikram yoga next week, Lisa. It's different for different people, but I went after, so I started my workout routine, and I went to yoga after like 11 months basically of doing other things. So I was doing Pilates and weights and other aerobic exercise, and I started doing the Peloton bike quite a bit as well. But going back to yoga, it's amazing how quickly you lose your flexibility by not doing certain things. Like I really could feel a difference, and I was like, okay, I got to mix it up more. So that's the second thing I'm trying, is like working on the nutrition and then also mixing up the exercises.
You've always been pretty flexible. I'll do yoga, just not Bikram yoga. Like I do yoga. I try to do it at least once a week, but it's
right.
Yeah, I should do more. But I was saying my personal, like I've really changed a lot, because, remember like 20 years ago or so,
right.
I like lost 20 pounds, like doing Weight Watchers, or more than that, 25 pounds. And but the way I did it then, and they've changed their entire system of how to do points, and I like that. But back then it used to be just number of points a day, and that's it. And definitely I lost a lot of weight eating Popeyes every day, because it was based on a point system. So, okay, I have, just whatever number, 20 points a day, and I'll blow 13 on like fried chicken. So it's horrible choices.
Yeah. You can have the foods you enjoy, but you're still accounting for them with that system.
That's how I lost it the first round. But then post-pregnancy, I used the same method, but I made wiser choices. So that was a lot better. And even Weight Watchers has changed their model, or has changed it so that they've made fruits and vegetables free and extra points for like alcohol or something. I still use the old method for me for my internal counting because I'm still going to make wise choices. But I like the fact that they have it so that someone new to it, immediately, it's kind of like they can follow that system very easily.
They're just making it so easy for the person to follow the program, right?
Exactly. I'm like, I actually myself make this thing every day, and I have the same thing for lunch every day now.
What is it?
It has everything healthy possible in it, just so it's out of the way. Well, you remember that drink that we made for like to help with sleep before, like the Indian drink with the ghee and all? So I just added to it, right? So I have that, right? And then I've added like, because I need a lot, because my age, in all this, I got to say, and even the doctors are perplexed, that my LDL continues to stay high, the bad cholesterol. But my good cholesterol is ridiculous. It's like off the charts. It's like over 100.
Well, some of your LDL can be based on genetics as well, right?
Well, that's what they think now. And then also, what's that other third thing they do is also very low, the fatty cells.
Triglycerides?
Yeah, that's very low too. So it's just, very low meaning it's good. It's not like, high. Because of that, I'm like, all right, I'm going to put in everything in one drink. So I just added like walnuts to it. I added oatmeal to it. So I make this whole shake thing. I added fruits. I added blueberries, strawberries to it.
So you're basically making a smoothie similar to what I'm making, but with the basis of it is that golden milk recipe that we had talked about previously.
Yeah, it's so good because it tastes like mithai, like Indian sweets, but in a milkshake form. It fills me up. And I know it's pretty high in calories all in all, but it's like a great thing to start, like break my fast.
And has protein.
Yeah, because of the milk, the nuts, the seeds. And it's also high in fiber. And it just tastes so good. And now, finally, after 43 years of life, I figured out what keeps me full. Protein, fiber, with healthy fats. Boom. Until dinner, when I have vegetable and protein.
Well, one of the things I love about this little Noom app is like it asks you to evaluate and self-identify what kind of eater you are. So it's basically doing what from a psychological perspective, like a trainer might do with you, like asking you different questions. Like, how do you, do you get excited about cooking, or is cooking a chore, right? Like they ask you little things like that. The app's asking you that. So you're kind of like self-evaluating, but there are like different types of eaters. And like one of them, like what you're describing is like food is for fuel. Like I don't want to stop and have to spend 2 hours cooking this elaborate lunch that only I'm going to eat and nobody else is here. So let me just quick. You're like making the shake. You're getting all the things. Like I got all of my checklist done and everything's in there.
Oh, I pre-make it. Once a week, I put all the ingredients in a Ziploc bag, which I reuse because I don't want to throw away the bag. Just saying, I'm doing my part. I put everything in there except for like the milk and the ghee. That's it. And everything else is already in there. So I just put it in the blender.
Yeah. So you have it ready to go. And then there's the other type of eater that's like eating for fun. Like it's a social activity. And then there's the type of eater that's like just eats in a fog. So they're just like, oh, whatever. I'm just going to mindlessly have this habit of like crunching popcorn, eating chips, like having something grazing all the time.
So it makes you aware of your habits. That's good.
It does. Yeah. And for me, like I thought I was more of a social eater, that, like for me, food is fun, but it's not just about whether you enjoy prepping. It's also like, are you able to just substitute that activity of sitting around and going to dinner when you're hanging out with your friends with something else? Like, could you go for a walk or play a game instead? And then you remove the food out of it. For the longest time, I actually thought that for me, my attachment was the food as a social activity, but really it's more about the social activity that I'm connected to. And I just happen, like dinner or going to lunch or having coffee just happens to be the way to satisfy that. But if I substitute it with something else, like, hey, let's go for a walk and talk, or let's play a game, but let's sit in the family room instead of sitting in the kitchen so we don't have food, it actually works. So it's pretty awesome.
Oh, wow. I don't think that would work with me. I like to meet people and eat. That's like part of my like excitement. Like I've worked hard all week and now
that's part of your reward.
It's part of my reward. Exactly. And I haven't taken the test. I actually kind of want to, but I would think for me, the one thing, and it's really bad, I like to eat while I watch TV. I even like eating my dinner by the TV, but I try not to do it just because Allie. But it's so bad that like, I think the other day I was like, oh man, I'm done. Like, my eating window or something was earlier. There was something, right? It was like 8:30. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I guess I could watch whatever. Maisel, this, that. And I was like, well, what's the point? I can't eat. And I just went to sleep. So I have a thing.
That's so funny.
So I don't know what that's called, but I will go to sleep because I'm like, well, what's the point of watching TV if I can't eat? Like, I've literally connected TV and food. And it's so funny because Allie's the opposite. So I just assume everyone's like that, especially my own kid. And she'll watch Moana. And she's like, oh, can I have ice cream? I was like, all right, sure, we'll do ice cream right now. And she'll pause. I'm like, what are you doing? And then, because I have, like, she has ice cream. I've got, like, you know, a glass of wine. We're just watching TV, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing? And then she's like, I want to finish my ice cream. Then I'll watch. I was like, what? I was like, why don't you want to just watch while you eat? She goes, no, I want to eat first and then watch. I'm like, well, that doesn't work for me because
she's like me.
I want to drink my wine while watching TV and also before my eating window closes. So she's eating her ice cream and I'm just waiting for her to put the TV back on so I can start drinking my wine. Otherwise, I will not enjoy it. It's weird.
That's funny. So does she eat popcorn when she's watching a movie?
She doesn't like to eat while watching a movie. It's so weird.
I like her. Send her over to my house.
No, but that is not my child.
You know, the way that I avoid, because I am always concerned about like this grazing habit. And so, but I don't allow, you know me, like I run a tight ship, so to speak, but I don't allow food like in other rooms. Like food is in the kitchen only, right? It's not like on the couch or in other rooms. So even if the kids ever wanted to like watch while they're eating, they'd have to like stand in the kitchen and then look. Luckily we have an open floor plan concept, but they're not allowed to do it.
Well, also you don't have a wall between your television and kitchen like we do in our old colonial.
We don't have a wall. Yes. And that's also why how I was able to have a white leather couch with a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 7-year-old.
I have a white leather couch in my office, and you're right, I don't eat there, but I will have a drink there.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep on logging my food, and then I'm learning more about the calorie density too, like which food is worth the calories and which food is not worth the calories, because I had a handful of peanuts, and I was like, dude, for that number of calories, I could have just made a small salad. It was really ridiculous. I'm on day 4. We'll see what happens. If I never bring it up again, it was a total failure. But hopefully I stick with it for a couple weeks and just reset.
I'm sure you're going to bring it up again because I know it's not going to be a failure. Okay? I know that.
Oh, thank you.
You're doing awesome. You got to keep me posted, okay? I want to hear about every pound.
Do you want to be my accountability partner?
Oh, yeah, I'd love that. Tell you exactly when to throw out that lollipop.
That's true friendship right there. Tell us your stories. Tell us what you think. How do you address nutrition, exercise, working out? What do you think about this and other topics? And as always, thanks for listening.